Hi, y'all. Welcome to the Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. Rock and roll time. It is Monday, best day of the work week. Also, this week I'm celebrating my 25th anniversary for being on the air. And just to let you know, a little programming note, because I'll be in a lot of the major markets in the next week. We're in Lake Charles on Wednesday. First South Forum Creditors open a new building. We'll be there in conjunction with our good friends at KAOK, which has been with us 20 years next April 16th. Then we move into Monroe on a Thursday. I hope the people in Monroe will come out. We'll be at State Farm. Peggy Sullivan, State Farm office, who, by the way, is my State Farm agent, who got me in the radio business. We'll broadcast our 25th anniversary on Thursday. I don't know if Donald Trump will call me, Brandon, but he called Rush. I mean, come on, man. He got to at least give me a call. Then on Friday, we'll be in Alexandria, which we're approaching 20 years with those folks as well, at Hickson Ford, of course. And then on the 31st, we'll be in Shreveport. So we're getting ready to make a big run here for the next 7-8 days. Just wanted to let you know, and very thankful to have been on the air as long as we have. We've been very fortunate to be hanging around still, so very thankful. All right, anyway, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Last week, Bond Commission decided not to do business with a couple of banks that decided they wanted to get into the Second Amendment and start depriving people 18 to 21 years old of certain guns. Kyle Ondwine, who is the interim Secretary of State, joins us. Kyle, how you doing?
Good morning, Moon. I'm doing great, and yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Now, Kyle, that was a big difference. The reason I bring you up is that your vote actually put them over the top. I know Billy Nungas, I don't want to get you on that, didn't show up, and it was actually a 7-6 vote. I think it was a positive move for the state of Louisiana. Now, the advocate and some of these people write negative things, but actually to eliminate 2 people when you got so many people that do this is really not a big deal, but it is a big deal for people who love the Second Amendment.
It is a big deal for all those who support the Second Amendment and who deserve those rights. I think we did the right thing, and I'd do it again.
Well, no doubt about it. I just know that what's going to happen now? So you got 2 banks that really did about 23% of the business. What do? Just reissue the bonds or whatever with other companies?
Well, now the other companies will be able to compete for that percentage throughout the state. So I think we're going to see a lot more competition in this process. When the 2 largest ones aren't part of it, then I think a lot more companies get to be part of the process and get a chance at a bite of the apple.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, by the way, this doesn't. I noticed Taylor Barra. I read this, and I had Blake Miguez on the other day. Taylor Barra is in the banking business, and they made a big deal how this is going to cost us more money. It doesn't cost us any more money. He talked about the competition in the market kind of setting the pace on that.
I don't think anybody can quantify whether or not it's going to cost us money. I think it's just a red herring. I think the policy is the right policy to follow, and I think that these companies need to take note of it and change their policies.
Yeah, no doubt. And by the way, y'all are reacting on behalf of the state on what they did. I noticed some of the people were saying that now here we go. We're trying to tell a company what they can do. No, we didn't. Y'all didn't do that. What you did was said if a company's going to have policies slamming against the Second Amendment, then we're going to take action what's best for the state of Louisiana, which I see nothing wrong with, by the way.
Well, I agree with you, and I asked the company, one of the companies, I said, do you do business with cities that allow illegal aliens to register and vote? I said, to me, that disenfranchises legal citizens, and they couldn't answer the question or wouldn't answer the question. They said they weren't prepared to answer that question. So if the Second Amendment is important, so is the right to vote. I mean, just as important, if not more, and I think that we need to focus on those types of issues. These companies they're going to play holier than thou. Well, they need to look at all the laws. You know what I'm saying?
You made a point. I think the both of them are equal. I mean, you need the Second Amendment with the right to vote. Those are very, very important things in what we do. It really is.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I urged them. I said, I asked them, why aren't you using your corporate influence and money getting behind helping individuals get diagnosed and get mental health treatment sooner? The insurance companies just deny the treatments or deny coverage, and yet they're not focusing in on that because mental health illness is pretty serious, and I think those are the people that are really causing these issues to crop up, and they need help. So I think they ought to look into that.
No doubt about it. I just think it took some brave voters. It took you guys to do the right thing. And, everybody I came across said, I'm glad they did that. I'm glad we sent a message back to people. Look, if you're going to play the politically correct against something like the Second Amendment, then go do it somewhere else. There are plenty of people willing to stand up, buy bonds or things of that nature, bid on them and get them. And they are, just as well as I do. And you got plenty of banks out there willing to do it.
Absolutely. There's a lot of competition in the marketplace, and we just stood up for the citizens of Louisiana and the policies that have been long tradition in this state. And, some people aren't going to like it. I get it. But the fact of the matter is the rights of the people of Louisiana have been protected, and companies can either do business with us or change their policies and not do business. It's up to them. We didn't tell them that you have to. We just told them, if you're going to do business with the state of Louisiana, have policies congruent with the laws and the Constitution of our state and nation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'll tell you what, I think it was a good move. I think it took 7 people to say, look, we love our state, we love our country, and we love the Second Amendment. And I think that's what you guys did. You really stood up. And once again, there are other people out there, a lot of people out there that want our business.
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Well,
there'll be plenty of competition. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that By the way, they said this would delay some projects, some road projects. Will it delay anything?
I haven't been informed of that, but we'll see. If it is, it will be minimal delays. But basically, they have to come in and bid on the project. So we'll
no doubt about it. You just reopen the bid on a project. That's
right.
Not something that takes long, is it?
No.
That's pretty quick. So and those other people are already working in the state, so it's not like you have to do you already had a bid process. You already had a process out there. You resend it out there, and you get to take the best bid. I mean, that's pretty simple. It is
very simple.
Well, they were writing stuff like it's going to cost us more money, it's going to take more time, and I'm going, why should it do any of that? I mean, but like I said, Byron made the point that the rate's set by the market, and that shouldn't really change anything.
That's exactly right. I mean, the speaker knows the banking business pretty well, and the markets. I took his lead and the others, Representative Miguez and Attorney General Landry and Treasurer Schroeder and Representative Huval and DeVilliers. We all worked together, and it was a strong move for the state of Louisiana and a strong policy statement for the people.
Yeah. Once again, the advocate and the press and people like that started taking up for the governor's side, because the governor, Matthew Block, and him actually the governor talks about his Second Amendment run, but believes in the Second Amendment and right to bear arms, but he's never on the side of the people that fight for it. That was always upsetting to me, because he's never on the side for the ones that are actually doing the work, and that's frustrating to me.
I think it's frustrating for a lot of people. I think we put our votes where it counts, and I think we'd all do it again because it's the right thing to do, and I think the people can be proud of the vote we took. Look, I mean, they chose to put a policy in place. They chose to oppose legal vendors in this state, gun manufacturers, from being able to do business, and we said that's not the right thing to do. And if they have a problem with it, they can change their policy. Look, liberal groups sue me all the time, our office all the time, with regards to all kinds of issues surrounding voting issues and registration issues. And I mean, they're always trying to change policy, but at least I have a fighting chance in the courts. These manufacturers didn't have a fighting chance. They just put their pressure on these companies to stop doing business with them because they didn't want to do business with them. And so the retailers got stuck, and the manufacturers got it put to them. So that's just not the way we do business in the state of Louisiana.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, I know they do a lot of suing, so I think it was a right move. And I'm glad somebody stood up, and you 7 people stood up in the bond commission. And by the way, it didn't hurt the state, didn't hurt us financially, not going to hurt us time-wise. None of that happened that you're reading in some of the mainstream printed press.
Well, the media. You can't believe everything you read.
You can't believe much of what they read. What I mean by that is they take sides, and then they pound the side they hate. I'm watching the Advocate this morning. They're crying about the new crop of partisan media that's out there. They're crying about it. Well, the reason that media was created is because of people like the Advocate putting out their slant on the news. And every one of the editorial writers is from the left. So, I mean, alternative news media creeps up. It definitely does, but it's because of them. It's like they got their side, they run with their side, and they pound everybody that's in the way. That's what's going on especially with the Advocate.
Yep. I'm a victim of it, I can assure you.
Yeah, I have lately, but that's okay. Anyway, we got to run. Interim Secretary.
All right, happy anniversary to you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to take a break. More to come. I'm just cranking up. Yeah, the Advocate then lost their mind, and they crying at the alternative media out there. They don't tell the truth like us. And Jim Beam's crying about fake news. Beam crying about fake news, and most of the stuff he prints now, half of it's fake. He puts only his side in it. Anyway, we'll get to all that and a lot more. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. Now, the media, especially the Advocate and Jim Beam, crying about it's not fair. They got all this alternative media popping up. Well, they're popping up because you guys, especially in the Advocate, don't write anything worth of crap anymore. You know, y'all write everything's angle in your editorials. Everything's angle. Example, they love Bill Edwards. So what do? They're going to pop John Kennedy. They're going to pop Jeff Landry. They pop Schroeder. They pop them all. They're popping everyone they get a chance to pop. Why? Because they know Edwards didn't win. If they felt like, oh, man, y'all can't beat this guy, they wouldn't be saying a word. But I told y'all, this is what you're going to see. Let me give you an example. Now, I'm gonna come back to the media and the bias and all that stuff in a minute, but let me give you an example of what they're doing. Okay. I read in the paper this weekend that where we added 21,000 jobs and since last July. Makes it sound good. I'll tell you, they're going to give you every good report they possibly can give you. That's fine. But I'm reading the San Francisco Chronicle. You won't see this. This is actually San Francisco Chronicle, Brandon. They did run it in the New Orleans newspaper, okay, AP. Now, you've been hearing Bill Edwards and little Richard Corbo and them saying, well, we got unemployment loss in 10 years, and they won't tell you the rest of the truth. Neither will the media, neither will the Advocate. I know because I travel the state. I know because I talk to real people every day. I know the answer the answer to our problem here is an economy we can be proud of to keep our workers here and keep people here when they leave colleges to work here. That's the answer. But we got out migration because we got a governor and the governor before him and the governor before him and the governor before her and the governor before. They don't understand really what it means to be a business friendly economy so we can have all the stuff that we want. They don't. And if they don't ever get it, we're never going to change it. I think Bill Edwards is setting his state back for 10 or 20 years. Everything's government. He hadn't fixed or changed one thing because they don't want to fix it. They really think because they passed $6.3 billion in new taxes that, woo, we got the budget fixed, everything's cool. You remember when he stood up and said, we fully funded higher ed? If they did, how come they spiked the fees in the universities? Another $600, almost $600 a year. We fully funded my boop and fully fund anything. But they told us that. Then they raised fees on these kids who are going into mega debt for what? So they can get a job in Texas? They don't do it right. I'm right. I'm sticking to my gun. Try it my way. I'm tired of trying it the way we've been doing it since Huey Long. Here it is. So we get Bill Edwards and little Richard Corbo and them hollering. We got this is the most people working ever in this state. That's one thing they throw out. Number two, they throw out, well, we got the lowest unemployment rate in 10 years. Well, let me just give you the truth. Louisiana unemployment rate rises for fourth straight month. San Francisco Chronicle. This is an AP story they actually put in the Times-Picayune. Louisiana's unemployment rate continued rising in July, worsening for the fourth straight month. Meanwhile, unemployment has dropped below 4% nationally. We went from 4.7 to 4.9 in June. Despite the rebound, unemployment remains below the July 2017 rate of 5%. That's right, Brandon, it's 4.9. But we're way below that because there's not enough jobs being created, any good jobs. the jobs and people are working at. Some of these people that lost some of these jobs in the oil and gas industry are working 2 jobs or moved. July unemployment rate 3.9% from 4% in June. Let me read this again. This is not my writing. Louisiana has the 3rd highest jobless rate among states. You see, if we focus on jobs, instead of focus on how much money we can put in government and how much more money we need for hiring, how much more money we need for Medicaid and all that stuff that goes on and on, that's all we've done for the last, since the longs. We've not changed anything. Here's another one, Watchdog Group. You ready? Louisiana, 4th worst state to get a job. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, not my stats, more than 223,000 new jobs were added in May, more than 164 were added in April this year. Nationwide, unemployment down to 3.8. Then they do, see, this is something that goes out nationally. I want to one day say what a job-creating economy we have, which helps local government, which helps state government, which helps higher ed. We're trying to do it bass-ackwards, and that's why it's not working. So they give us the best economies in the country to get a job, and then at the bottom, there we are, 10 worst states to get a job. West Virginia, Mississippi, Kentucky, Louisiana. So, why do you think we have out-migration? We have out-migration because of jobs. Why do you think we don't need have enough money going in the government? Well, we really do, because we're losing people. We're probably 2 or 3 billion more in the state government than we need. How can you say that, Griffon? Do you know they almost closed the hospital? By the way, did David Calicut ever call?
No.
Okay. Did the hospital stay open?
Yes.
Did you see if anybody lost jobs there?
Not that I know of.
And what about all those old elderly people that get kicked out of their clinics and stuff as well? I mean,
No.
they didn't get
No.
Amazing. We've been hearing that for 60 years because we won't change the job climate. I think we got to take a break, Brandon. We won't do what I'm saying we need to do. We're not going to do it because we don't have leadership to do it. Wallet Hub, Watchdog Group has us ranked. Here's what they have us ranked. Louisiana's ranked 4th from last, 47th out of 50 states. Okay, and this is get a job. That's why people are late. Look, this stuff is really easy to fix. We choose not to. Pelican State ranking hovered near the bottom in several categories. 47th for its job market. 32nd for its economic environment, Brandon. That is nothing more but in potential. 47th for having the fewest job opportunities. 46th for having the highest unemployment rate. 46th for its workers having the longest time working. And 47th for its workers having the lowest job satisfaction. According to Wallet Hub analysis, Jill Gonzalez, the state ranked poorly for overall job opportunities and employment opportunities as well as for job satisfaction. Aside from the job market status, the economic environment in Louisiana is also in poor shape. About 10% of the state's workers live below the poverty line, the 3rd highest in the country. Now, this is for the overall state. Now, Adam Napa, I know Adam, he's bragging about Baton Rouge, and I'm sure Lake Charles can probably jump in as well. But look, we're all in this together. We need to make this the friendliest business state in the country. That would be a radical change from every governor we ever had came through in legislature. You know, why don't they blame John Alario for this? He's been there 47 years. Francis Thompson. All the governors before Edwards, and including him, he's not changing anything, folks. Everything with the governor is raise taxes and LGBT. That's it. He has not tried to help and change one thing in his state. He could care less. When they're bragging about jobs because they bought some company going to New Orleans, did the same thing they accused Bobby Jindal of being wrong, putting money out for companies. They do the same thing. It's so frustrating because nobody understands what I'm talking about in government. Nobody. By the way, in Wallet Hub study, 2 main categories were emphasized: job market and economic environment. For the first, the study analyzed job opportunities, employment growth, unemployment, underemployment, which, by the way, a lot of these people that had these good jobs are underemployed now. employee outlook, employee benefit, laws and policies. When they're looking at laws and policies, for the second, it looked at median annual income, and I explained that last week that we're at the bottom of that. Laws and policies. For the monthly average starting salary, average length of a work week, and commuter time. Earned income tax credit, which we jacked up again. State income and tax burdens. In those categories, Louisiana's job market ranked 47th. By the way, they got in touch with the office of John Bell Edwards and the Louisiana Workforce Commission, who did not respond to the request. Well, what are they going to respond? You remember when the Florida Texas governor Brandon that came in? I think it was Florida. Came in and said, we're going to go recruit some businesses from Louisiana. And Bell Edwards and the advocate nutted up. They nutted up. Well, how dare does he come in here? How dare does he come in? He came in here because it's easy. Why don't we send our governor to Florida and Texas and go recruit jobs and go recruit businesses? What's he going to tell them? What's he going to tell them? Well, come over here and we'll raise your taxes. We promise to smash you. We're making it, listen, everything we've done in this state. Bell Edwards is the latest of the failed governors. And Jay Darden put him in that co-governorship. The latest of failed governors. So we're failing with two this time. Because all they focus on is state budget and Medicaid and higher ed. And put all of our money in that. And they don't give a dang how much money they take out of the pockets of the middle class and the working class. They don't care. They want plenty of money for government, plenty of money for just whatever government does, government employees. Next year we get the old teachers' pay raise going to pop up in the election. Which, by the way, destroys our pension funds even worse than they are now, and they're pretty bad. That's what we're doing. That's it. And we're trying to raise a road tax. You know? And that's what amazes me. No vision for the future. Our future is these young people who have the work ethic and going to universities. They are leaving. They're leaving for jobs. So what we're going to do, we're going to pound the people that are here. And this is why I get so mad at these weak Republicans, these Julie Stokes, liberal, leftist, socialist Republicans. The reason you don't vote for people like that is, and this is the ones the Advocate and Jim Beam and Gannett Papers brags about. The Rothschild one, he ain't raising taxes. Mark Mo taxes Abraham. These are the ones they brag about. And they brag about these Republicans because they're willing to vote for mega taxes. And they're not improving anything. They're not improving anything. Here it is again. Louisiana educators look for ways to improve math skills as poor scores continue to plague schools. Let me tell you what's part of that. What's been part of that for the last 30 years. The part of that is the best and brightest are leaving. They're having babies. They're having young kids that they are concentrating on with those kids that they will be good students. We concentrate on helping the poor and how much we want to help people to be poor. We concentrate on that part of it, and that's not the part that's going to get us up. The people leaving are the best and brightest. They're going to have children one day who are going to be the best and brightest. These are white, black, green, and yellow. And they're leaving, which is leaving us with poor people because people like Bell Edwards and Jay Darden and Julie Stokes, the Nancy Pelosi of the Republican Party, these people are trying to make it easy to be poor here, easy to stay here. We'll take care of you. Vote for us. They don't care about the business community. They don't care about these best and brightest people are leaving. Because if they did, they wouldn't be leaving. Because our concentration would be on keeping these people here. No, don't do that. Expand Medicaid and brag about it. That's a job creator. That's stupidity. And then what does the Advocate do? And the Times-Picayune and the Gannett Paper and Jim Beam? What do? Oh, this is economic development. This is bright. This is the best thing we did. It's stupidity. We ought to want more people to have to get their insurance through their employer or through their self-employment because that means we have a vibrant economy. They're buying private insurance, not us. We're going to give free cell phones and free health care and free this and free that and make people as poor as they can be and make them happy while the best and brightest leave. This makes no sense what we're doing in this state. This man that's the governor, the co-governorship, that is a total embarrassment, and it's setting this state back 10 or 20 years for us making this state a winning state. And they know it. And here we go. There's the media. The media's crying about alternative news, and all they do is defend people who have done this state wrong. Francis Thompson, go to hell home. John Alario, get the heck out of Baton Rouge. We need somebody with some guts. I don't care who it is. Kennedy, Landry, Scalise, Abraham, the Graves may run. Somebody who understands what I'm talking about. You got to make the state a friendly state for businesses and where young people want to stay. And we don't even try. We don't even have a clue how to do it. And it's not that hard. I'm fighting it, but man, it gets old.
Got to keep you straight sometimes, Moon.
Woo, just do it.
That's what you pay me for.
Just do me a favor. Just do it sometimes.
Yeah.
If I got corrected, the way I do things, every time I messed up, Brandon, I would stay corrected. By the way, only 73 shootings in Chicago last weekend. Hey, good news, it's down to 58 this past weekend. I mean, folks, they're just shooting people left and right. Good old inner cities, Democrats load everybody in there. That's another thing. We don't ever change what's happening in the cities, and we're not going to with illegitimacy and voting for a Democrat because they don't want but one thing. They want one thing. They need their voters all jammed somewhere, and they don't care what happens to them. But keep voting Democrat. Inner cities will be the whole country one day. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program. Mitchell and Rose Pond. How you doing, Mitchell?
Good. Oh, excuse me. Good morning, sir. Just a quick comment. Everybody, I think, excuse me, should join the Convention of States.
Say that again?
Everybody should sign up for the Convention of States.
Well, I mean, I know there's a big push for it. We'll see what happens with it.
Yep. You have a blessed day, sir. That's all I needed.
All right, thank you for the call. I'm having a blessed day. Just frustrating to watch us continue to be last and everything. I just cannot believe that people are here. Why do we put up with this? Well, one of the reasons we got a lot of people that, look, people get mad at me. We got a lot of people work for government. We just do. We got a lot of people work for government. Then we got a lot, think about what government did. I mean, we got now the hospitals and nursing home, everybody's tied to somewhere with government in the state, and that's why we won't change it. It's really. I'm not going to say it's impossible because I don't ever think like that, but it's going to be tough to change. But when you got a governor and the co-governors coming in, they actually hug the system and say we will get all the money you need. Just reelect me. That's frustrating. You're not going to change the state, and then we're going to look up, folks, and our migration has taken so many people out of Louisiana. For anybody telling me that's not true, we lost 2 congressmen in the last 20 years. That is based off the census. That tells you right there, whoever thinks that I'm wrong is an idiot. Okay? An idiot thinking we're not losing our best and brightest. We all lose. Who you think's leaving here? If you're poor in this state, why would you leave here? We're doing more and more and more things to help you get a check. Why would you leave? That's who stays. The rest of us that are staying, we love it here. We just don't want to move. We stand in the fight. But, I mean, Bell Edwards and them raised these taxes, and look, in 2 years, they're going to want to raise some more. All it takes, as we found, is a bunch of leftist Democrats and a few leftist Republicans, and boom, you get all the vote that you want. Why don't we make this a friendly business state? Just would somebody tell me why we don't care about the young people we send into college? And if somebody doesn't go to college, but they have the work ethic, they can come out of high school and work their butts off and create anything they want to. But we making it a big deal. College, universities, funding for universities. Bell Edwards stands up and said, we have fully funded higher ed. And then they raised the fee $600 per student at a lot of these universities. Explain that to me. We're fully funded. Then why do we have to take another $600 out of the pockets of the students who don't have the money and their parents don't have the money? Well, see, they don't care if you got to go get loans to go to school. They do not care if you pay them back. As long as a lot of these people at the top have their six-figure job and six-figure retirement system, which, by the way, is broke, then everybody's happy. They even get I love when they get the kids out there for TOPS. I was told the other day TOPS will be gone in 2 years. They get those kids out there fighting for TOPS, fighting for the governor. They don't even realize what they're doing. They're raising the taxes so they can have every government entity you want. Bell Edwards and Jay Darn act like Santa Claus because it's with your money. It ain't theirs. They think me and you, they are convinced that we are a low-tax state. We're not a low-tax state. We're spending so much money in taxes per person, it's not even funny. We're at the top of doing that. But they don't look at it that way. They do some kind of comparison. They say, we don't spend as much money as Florida. Well, we probably spend a lot more. Too many universities, we don't do anything about that. But we are not, it blows my mind. Look, I'm in the radio business, okay? I'm in the ad business. That's the business I'm in. And I travel and talk to all these radio stations that, by the grace of God, has given us opportunities. And I can find out what's going on in every market. I'm getting ready to travel for my 25th. It just kind of came up to thank people. And I can talk to them, and I know what they're going through. I know what the market's doing in Monroe and Shreveport and Alexandria and Lafayette and Lake Charles and some of these smaller markets, especially up north. I know the frustration. People don't want to move. They love it here. They got to make a living. Why don't we make it easy to make a living? Why don't we make it easy for businesses to prosper? Why don't we make it easier for businesses that want to come here? That's what I don't understand. I don't understand why that's not the ultimate thing we ought to do. It's not. I think people that work for government, not all, a lot of them just take it for granted. I got my job. I got my retirement. Got a great retirement, best retirement in the world, and really don't understand the part about how the economy has to roll in the private sector to have any money for government, any government work. I don't care if you're in policeman, sheriff's department, and you're in education. You don't have a vibrant economy with a growing economy where young people are coming in and keeping jobs and moving forward. You get your butt laid out. We get laid out. Man, it just ain't that hard. Unless you don't want to change the current direction your state's going. I am fighting for that. I'm fighting for you. Whether you have a government job or not, we're fighting for you. But you got to make sure the private sector does well. And this state with this co-governorship, it's not going to. They got to go buy businesses. Same thing they blame Bobby Jindal about. Let's go to Mike in Alexandria. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing fine, sir.
I just want to let you know I've been listening to you for a long time, but this out-migration has just hit me reality because my daughter went to Louisiana Tech, and she got TOPS and she got some academic scholarship, but after the state spent all this money and her getting her education and becoming an engineer, I just moved her to McKinney, Texas to get a job because she couldn't get one here. Yeah. And that's what's really sad. They spend the money to send these kids to school, but there's no jobs for them.
See, Mike, that's what bothers me. We're going to invest all this money in higher ed, all this money in higher ed. Listen to wailing and gnashing the teeth. We're shutting down LSU football. John Bel Edwards out of his mouth. And then all of a sudden these kids get out and don't have jobs. And that's what you've been hearing me, if you've been listening to me all preaching, if you want to call it, about how we've got the model backwards. It's backwards. Our GDP has grown half of what state government's grown, and everybody worries about state government. What about your daughter? What about your job? You want your daughter to stay close to you, and then there's no opportunities.
Right.
So you prove my point. Nope. The best and brightest leaving. The poor stand here. So we say, to hell with it. We can't do anything about it. We're not going to change anything. So let's make it easy to be poor. That's what we're doing in this state.
Well, that's why I wanted to call and tell you that this is a prime example, the best and the brightest. My daughter, went to school in Alexandria, had a 4.3 GPA, got an academic scholarship, got TOPS, worked her butt off to get the engineering degree in 4 years at Louisiana Tech, which, that's a hard program. And she graduated, I think, cum laude with a 3.7 GPA in honors, engineering, and could not find a job here and had to go, like I said, it's only 5 hours away, but it's in McKinney, Texas. And I'm going to tell you, Moon, just going over there, it's like a different world when you go around Frisco, Plano, McKinney.
Yep.
The construction is booming. I saw the new Toyota facility that moved from California and Frisco, Texas. The economy is thriving. They have no state income tax, but I think they have a little bit higher property tax. But I don't know. I think
let me tell you something.
Might be worth it.
That balances out. If you send your kids to private school, and you don't. And you live in Louisiana and send them to private school, and you go over there, I promise you, no income taxes, lower sales taxes, and higher property taxes, I promise you, you're going to be to the better. It's just a shame. Was there any other jobs your daughter found anywhere in Louisiana that didn't pay as much?
Well, the only other one, she had a opportunity, and they didn't have an opening, but they really liked her because she did an internship with Clico.
Okay.
And they liked her at Clico. They just did not have an opening for an industrial engineer at the time. You got to. Even that though, you got to go where and then Moon. They didn't pay her as much as she did an internship the summer before in Houston for an oil company. She made more money there. But she was willing to take maybe a little.
Yeah, let me just stop. She would have took a little less. She has to. Our problem in Louisiana is unemployment. They keep talking about these jobs. They're all a lot less than what people used to make. Got to go. Take a break. More to come in a minute. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. 25 years in this business. You know, my original contract was in the talk radio business, Brandon. My original first contract I ever signed. Agreement. It's called an agreement more than a contract. You ready? 4 shows.
Yeah.
Well, never had radio experience, and I'm sure it still shows. It was an agreement with Bob Holliday and KMLB in Monroe. We were 1440 back then. Now it's 540. And it's also FM. I forget all the FM dials we're switching to. I got to get all that updated. I know Alec just went FM. Shreveport's got FM. I say y'all, we've been FM here for a while. Alec just thought I need to get all that updated. But the original contract was 4 days, 4 shows. And it was once.
I've never heard of that before.
Monday. Well, what they wanted to do was, and plus, check this out. I had to make an agreement. I was couldn't make any money. Mm-hmm. What were my shows going to be about? Who were my advertisers?
Yeah.
Now this was the original deal.
Mm-hmm.
They were scared that I wanted to run for political office. Although I have no dreams of doing that. I have no.
You still don't.
I hate it worse than I ever did now. But my point being is, so I put this in writing. My goal is not to run. I'm not running for political office. I put I'm not. And I gave that to Bob Holliday and Peggy Sullivan, where I'm doing a program Thursday for State Farm. She used to be in the radio. She was one of the best I've ever been around selling radio ads. She was Peggy Sullivan, by the way, she's probably one of the best selling with State Farm now and selling insurance. But that's just who she is. And so it was originally 205. After Rush Limbaugh on KMLB in Monroe. That was the original deal that I had. Now, I never dreamed, Brandon, you get on the air, and after the second show, before the 4 shows were up, they wanted to know, would I go 13 weeks? So, you see, it was always going to be a test. It's still a test. But it was always a test to see if this would work out. And it's 25 years later now. And the program grew from once a week to twice a week. I probably say all that stuff Thursday, but it just to be hanging around. And now, and when I say my bigger markets that are in the big markets, not kind of the small ones, I mean, Ted Dumas has been with us. I don't know how long Ted's been with us. I've been with them. That's been a great and a blessing to be with Ted and them. And there's several stations. And I mean, we've been in Natchez, Mississippi for a long time. We've been in Slidell for many, many years. I'm probably missing somebody. I apologize. But the Monroe, Shreveport, Lake Charles, Ellick, Lafayette markets have been the bigger markets, and almost every one of them have been 19 to 20 years old. Because we're 20 years here in October 5th, and that's when it all started. Yeah. But 25 years of actually being on the air, and no, never dreamed of doing this in my life. But I've had a lot of fun. I hope I can do another 10 or 15. I really do. If you had to say, hey, if you could do 10 or 15 years and stay healthy and do this, yeah, absolutely, I'll take it today. That means I don't get to retire, which, by the way, is fine with me.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been a trip, Brandon. I've had the ups and downs and falls and lost stations. I mean, you just I look back now going, and that's what the good Lord tells you, just to go a day at a time because you can't plan for tomorrow. Everything you worry about never comes true. Things you think going to happen never come. You just got to plan and work it. And I feel really blessed, all the stations. And it's funny, I didn't really set this up this way. But in those 5 bigger markets that I'm talking about, we're in Lafayette today. We'll be in Lake Charles Wednesday. At First South Farm Credit, we opened with conjunction with KAOK, who's been with us almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Then we head to Monroe on the 25th anniversary Thursday, 25 years. Then we go to Ellick back on Friday at Hickson Autoplex, which I know we've been there 19. And then on the 31st, which is next week, we end up in Shreveport. Is that not amazing how that works? And I just, it's kind of I'm not making it a thank you tour, but I am going to mention it every day because we are humbled with all the stations we have on the radio program. But it is funny how, man, the tripping and falling and the pain it's suffering. Woo!
Well,
it's been a walk. It's been a walk.
A massive thank you to the listeners.
Oh, my God.
Man.
Listeners and advertisers.
Yeah.
Radio stations first, listeners, and, of course, advertisers.
It really is a team effort.
Those groups right there.
Yeah.
I'm a pro-business guy anyway. When I talk about the stuff I talked about in the first hour, a passion for businesses because I know what it's going to take to change the state. And it goes hand in hand with what the show's always talked about. And it's not I'm not anti-government. I think you got to have government. I just want good government and government that costs less. That's what I want. And because I know that would get us in the direction we need to be. And we don't ever go that direction. That's my frustration for the state of Louisiana. There's a lot of Moons and Brandons and people around here who really want to go in that direction. And you got a lot of them that, man, it's all politics all the time.
I think it's a good point of what you said. Railing against government. You're railing against bad government.
Bad government.
Good government.
Have you ever heard?
If you rail against bad government, that doesn't mean you're against government. That means you're against bad government.
Well, but the thing about it is government. I'm not railing against your family and your wife because I have nothing to do with your family and wife and the money and everything that you make and all that. That's not what I do have a say so in what they do with our tax dollars. And what they're doing with our tax dollars from the federal government down to the local government is ridiculous. And they think we got unlimited money. And I don't want this thing to bomb, to blow up.
Yeah.
But it can. So can the federal government. I mean, so, no, Brandon, the thing about it is I think we ought to have government. I want good government, and I think we ought to have taxes. I just think we've way past the point of taking too much money out of people's pockets.
Is it too much to ask that the taxes are spent wisely?
Yeah, no, I don't. No, it's not only too much to ask. We have to get to the point where we better start demanding that the money's spent properly, and we're not. I mean, you look at the fraud and stuff in Medicaid, they're talking about billions of dollars. They don't know what happened to the money. Yeah. Soon as somebody like Jeff Landry, John Kennedy, somebody jumps up, what does the media do? They go beat them up. And that ought not be going on right now. Yeah. The media beats up on anybody that gets in the way. And that's to me, as we grew the program from doing mostly local to state and national, it's basically what we're doing. I just think there's a place. Call me alternative news or whatever. There's a place not only for me but for other people to not only voice opinions but to give information like I showed you with the unemployment number a few minutes ago. That was an article out of the San Francisco Chronicle. They're not going to put that in the Advocate. They're too busy telling us how many jobs we got. Well, real people know what they're making. Fourth state, Louisiana's fourth worst state to get a job, and unemployment rate rises. Our unemployment rate is going up. Everybody else is going down. And what they do is they say, well, our GDP went up. It's the 15th best economy. That's not true. Obama had a 5.2 growth. 1 quarter of the GDP. His economy was horrible. People were getting jobs way lower than they should have been getting. Create anything. So anyway, it's a challenging deal. But I am upset. College students start next year with fee hikes. Thousands of college, many of them face another round of boosted costs. This price tag for getting a degree creeps even higher. And $282 a semester if you're a full-time student at LSU. Brandon, that's right under $600.
You had a lady that called earlier. She couldn't go on the air because she was working, but she gave me the thing. She said, look, they sold us so much on that a bachelor's degree was not as important anymore. It was to get a master's degree. And she said, I'm $20,000 in debt, but I have a job that pays me $40,000 a year.
Bingo.
So that math is not exactly favorable to her. And she said just the disappointment that's been
Well,
expressed.
Brandon, you
in
live
that.
that. You and your bride, y'all live the same thing. I mean, people are promising this. If you get this degree and get this degree, you're going to have money. But here's the problem. What about the guy that just called? The guy that called are the people I like to talk to. The guy that just called before the end of the program, I forgot who it was, Mike. Mike called from Alexandria and talked about how his daughter got an engineering degree, and she's headed to Texas 5 hours away from home. That's how many of you people can call and tell me those stories? That's the stories that ought to go back to John Bel Edwards and the people in the press. Because you keep your best and brightest here. One way to keep them. There's only one way to keep them. One, jobs. If you got Brandon, you're gonna have kids one day going to come out of school and say, hey, Dad, I got a degree in engineering, and I can get a job for making a lot less money here. But, there's a job over in Dallas that I really like, and the benefits are better, and the money's better, and the economy's better. And what you going to tell him? Son, you better stay here and take $20,000 less. And I don't think it ought to be just about money. Don't get me wrong. I know it not. Yeah. But the kids are looking for opportunities. Yeah. Like you just said, this lady invested $20,000 already. She's going to get a $40,000 a year job. That doesn't compute.
And then I'll say this, look, $20,000 in debt, that's on the low end when you compare it to a lot of people, student loan debt.
You said it before I did, and you've been closer to college than since I've been, but I had to put kids through school.
Yeah.
And I know this, that right there tells you a lot about people in education and the politicians and the politics in education. They really don't give a rat's rear end how much it costs. I think it was F. King Alexander, or whatever the guy named at LSU, walked out there and looked at all the cars out there and said, we're not charging enough. Look at the vehicles these people are driving. We're not charging enough. And I thought, holy cow, what gives you the right to tell people how much they charge it? But the stories are out there. We ought to do a whole program where people call about the stories about their kids leaving, because you're talking about educated people, and the people in Baton Rouge and John Bel Edwards and Jay Dart, they don't get it. They don't have a clue, because you watched for 3 years now with 10 sessions, 7 special. It was money for college, money, taxes. Who got beat up? The Republicans that were conservative. They didn't beat up Julie Stokes. Why did they beat up Julie Stokes? Why beat up somebody that votes for these taxes? Then if she didn't vote for him, she was for him. She was a little slick woman. She'd be for a tax and then don't vote for it. But she'd be on the floor leading the way, leading the charge. Ask Alan Sebo. That's all I'm saying. These stories need to be told, because if they're not going to be told, people like the Advocate, they don't get it. We want our best and brightest to stay here. What, didn't increase taxes on the people and the businesses? How does that work? Every number that comes out shows how poor we're doing with jobs and economic development and business and unemployment. Every one of them shows this. They grab one little twist on one and they put that in the paper. I want to hear your stories, because I know you don't want your kids to leave. You want your kids and grandkids to stay here. By the way, find out how many people, Brandon, have been out of school, been working in their mid-30s and mid-40s that are leaving and taking kids into high school with them. That's the fact, Jack. Take a break. Be right back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Let's jump gears for a few minutes. Lee Brasheen joins us, Louisiana Football Magazine. Lee, how you doing, bud?
Hey, Moon, doing great. How about yourself, man?
I'm doing great. Well, you must be pumped up, man, because if you write, when you're doing a football magazine and it gets to this time of year, bud, you must be like walking about 6 feet above the ground.
Oh, I'm fired up, Moon. I mean, I know that you're a football fan, too. We had lunch in Lafayette a few weeks ago. It was good sitting down and talking. I didn't realize how much football that you know outside of your political full-time life.
Well, if I
a lot of football too.
If I had my dream job was to get in broadcasting and sports, not. And I don't know about a good Lord Boo. I don't know about a good Lord Boo being to this, but the dream job was. My brother said. My brother told me this about 3 years ago. He said, "Boy, you missed your calling." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Well, I'm glad you're on the air." He said, "But people didn't know how passionate you were about sports and how you could really argue."
That's right.
Really fight people on sports. He said, we used to get fist fights over sports.
Well, we're happy. This is our 22nd year, Moon.
Wow.
Putting out our preview magazine. 22 years. I started out in my apartment. How about that for an entrepreneurship?
Always awesome.
Out of my apartment. And my mom's almost 70 years old, still works with me. We're family owned and out of Baton Rouge, but we do the whole state. And Louisiana Football Magazine, we just got it out, and I appreciate you letting me come on to talk about it.
Well, real quick, not real quick, but talk about what's in the magazine, what people can fit. Because, I mean, if somebody's in DeSoto Parish or in Washita Parish, I mean, they feel like, well, how's this part of us? Talk about what the magazine, when they get a chance to go read it, what are all you covering in this thing?
Well, we do a South magazine and a North that I'm going to mail to you. We do two magazines. South has the top 50-plus recruits from Alexandria back for North, and then South, Lake Charles down, the top 50-plus recruits on the cover. And it's got all the high schools featured, all the kids talked about, all the big-time players, all the great high school players. You don't have to be a D1 player to be in the magazine. And we got all the colleges featured, Moon, UL of Lafayette, LSU, McNeese, everybody in the state, Tech, all the schools. And then we got a recruiting section, 30 pages of those diehards, people that want to read the bios. And these are the kids that I go see play in person, old school, going 100-plus games a year. And it's, a 12, 13-week season, which I'll live for. But, if people need to try to find the magazine, go to ShopRite stores all in the Lafayette, Acadiana area, and also Pennywise stores in New Iberia and Breaux Bridge gas stations. And all over the state we have locations, and or our website, laffootballmagazine.com.
laffootballmagazine.com. What y'all do? Y'all send them one?
We sent them, man. It's today some people don't like going out and going to stores. It's getting to where people just want to order off the internet, everything, groceries, everything. So if you don't feel like going to the stores, support the local stores. But
absolutely. The ShopRite place is some friends of mine been advertising with me probably for over a dozen, 12, 15 years. Good people, real good people. And I don't know the other ones; they probably are too. But I do know them, and they've been great to work with. So this is all about football. This is your time of year, but people that want to find out a little bit more of what's going on. Lee does a great job with this. I've heard about this magazine for years. I've read it. I've went over it. But it's great to know what's going on in the northern part, the southern part, kind of tying to everything. And, the kids like to read it, too, because if they're a junior or senior in high school and they've been playing against these people for years, they'd like to know who's thinking about who,
Right. And Moon, let me give you some scoop for your show. This is not political scoop. This is football scoop. But
I like that better.
That you tell it like it is. Yeah, you tell it like it is, and I'm the same way in sports. There's a tight end at Opelousas Catholic. His name is Adam Purser. Remember that name. He's 6'4", 250, runs a 4.6 40 with great hands, and never drops the ball, plays wide receiver, lines out as a receiver, not being heavily recruited. Can you believe that?
Wow, sound like a good-sized kid right there.
Yeah, he can play. He will be the most talked-about kid in the Acadiana Parish area by the time the season's over. And people say, well, why is he not ranked? That he's one of those guys.
There's a lot of great tradition out of Opelousas Catholic as well. I've visited that school. As a matter of fact, to talk to another great tight end that played there a few years ago. And so they've got a lot of tradition out there at Opelousas Catholic.
Lee, I don't know if you know Brandon, but Brandon, they actually broadcast here in Lafayette. They're doing Acadiana games this year. They did Lafayette last year. So Brandon follows all the high school stuff because he's watching one every week.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of great players in the area. You got Thomas Perry at Turlings Catholic, 6'7", 320, can run a 5 flat. John William Lamb at Notre Dame, maybe the best kicker in the state, can kick them 60 yards.
Wow.
Down the road at Welsh, Deron Zeno caught 91 balls last year. 91 catches.
That's
runs a 4.5, 5'11", 190. And Peter LeBlanc, a safety committed to UL, I believe, right now at Catholic in Iberia. He's another Craig Steltz, in my opinion. Hard-hitting safety. He's going to be 200 pounds. Those are some of the guys that I like locally right now that are in that Acadiana area. They're going to be big-time players.
Yeah. Well, it's a good magazine. My suggestion is pick up the magazine if you're a football diehard. Hey, Lee, give out once again where people can get the magazine from, check it online and things of that nature so we can find out where to get the magazine because they need to be getting it now because really football season starts next week.
That's right. Go to ShopRite. ShopRite's all over the place from Lafayette to Lake Charles and also go, like I said, to Pennywise and New Iberia, Breaux Bridge. or go to our website, lafootballmagazine.com.
All right, Lee. Good luck to you, man. We'll do it again.
Thank you, Moon.
All right. God bless. Appreciate the call. All right. Let's jump gears. All right. Richard in West Monroe. Hey, Richard. How you doing, bud?
Hey, Moon.
How you doing,
All
sir?
right. How are you?
Doing fine.
I want to let you know that I heard your very first radio broadcast.
Wow. Wow.
And I thought to myself, Greg must be on here with this guy because he don't seem to know what he's doing.
By the way, that's why Gullies was assigned to me, because I didn't know what I was doing. That's a fact. That's the first time I've ever been behind a radio mic.
Also, I pictured you as a short, fat black man.
You missed it by a lot.
And then when I met you, we was at Boudreaux's restaurant eating lunch. Wow. And I thought, holy cow, how wrong could I have been?
You wasn't the only one, I promise you. The guy that thought I was a skinny, tall female is the one that missed the most.
But I've been listening to you ever since. I just wanted to remind you of that.
Well, that's 25 years, brother, and I appreciate every listener we ever had, I promise you. That's funny, though.
Okay, man. Have a good day.
Richard, I appreciate it. Brandon, I've done some remotes where people have come in. The biggest one I remember, I did one at Roly Poly's in Alexandria, KSYL. And we had a gigantic crowd. It was right after the election. And I've seen people walk in. It was mostly women. And they would point to me. That's who I was. And their jaw would drop. And they'd walk out and leave. Why their jaw dropped, it was never explained to me. They said, they just left and looked at you and said, oh, my God, and left. And I thought, wow, what did they really think they were looking at? Oh, you're making my brother pumped up.
That's what I did it for him. Never even met the man, but I know he likes it, so I'll put it in there for him.
By the way, we will have Ed Tarpley on tomorrow at 9:30. Brandon reminded me, thank God I finally sent him one, that talking about the jury deal with, having a unanimous jury in certain cases. So they've been pushing for this for a long, long time. So we get a chance to talk with Mr. Tarpley tomorrow right here on the program. Don't forget Wednesday, First South Farm Credit in Lake Charles in conjunction with KAOK. Been on air 19 and a half years. On Thursday, I'll be at Peggy Sullivan's State Farm Agency on Louisville. I want to invite everybody to come on out. I know I got some old friends there. People that we've lost some people, too, that used to be a big part of the program. I hope we'll see some. I'm hoping Lyle Miller, Coach Richard may even show up, they say. And that will be Thursday in conjunction with KMLB for our 25th anniversary. And then on Friday, we'll be back in Alexandria. Just worked this way, Hickson Autoplex. And, of course, we've been there for about 19 years as well. So it's
Moon traveling the state this week.
Well, what's funny, a year ago I tried to plan for stuff, and I'm not too good at that because when I say a one-man gang, I shouldn't say that, Brandon. You do a big part over on the other side of the radio, and Larry Jorgensen has helped me with sales for years. I'm not his full-time gig, but he helps me. And if you start looking at advertisers and radio stations, I got a lot of help.
Yeah.
But, when I plan stuff like that, that's just not big to me. I'm only thanking people. This is not a pat on the back crap. That's not what I'm doing. I just want to say thank you, man, because without the audience and advertisers and stations, we're not on there.
Oh,
we're
absolutely.
not on it at all. I mean, so my deal is just say thank you.
Oh,
Rush did his, and he got President Trump to call. I'm expecting President Trump to call. You don't think Governor Edwards will call him? No,
I was going to say that would be the equivalent when you're talking national Trump, statewide, Governor Edwards.
Governor Edwards or Governor Darden, it don't matter, either one. All right, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Somebody wrote, Ava DeJoy was on Keel this morning. She said the news that unemployment numbers are looking better for the state, especially in the oil patch and the tech industry. I remember our unemployment rate is 4.9%, national is 3.9%. Now, I will tell you, in the oil patch, some people have started to hire some, but it's because we have no choice. I mean, they will hire some people, but it's not because Bell Edwards had a policy to do it. You had 4 straight months of bad unemployment numbers. He said, I don't know. I didn't talk to Erin, but she's saying that our numbers are going down 4.7 to 4.9. Now, look, I don't have Common Core math. Is 4.7 to 4.9 higher or lower? Brandon, can you answer that? Or you didn't have Common Core math either? Okay. They went down to 3.9. We went up to 4.9. I'm just kind of curious. Guy says, can you explain on the air or not people hear you than the BS wondering who has the correct facts? Well, the correct facts are the ones I gave you. I don't give bad facts here. When I do, we apologize. Ava DeJoy of the commission, who is in a FERC force, she can give out all the numbers she wants to. I'm watching real numbers, real economy, real out migration. I'm watching real stuff here. They can make up and twist all they want to. That's a shame they twist numbers like that. I don't have to twist any of those numbers. Why would I twist the numbers? You know? By the way, Brian, I didn't want to get in this, and I'm really not, but y'all posted it. KPL965.com. This is going on, so I'm going to mention it here at the end of the program. Lafayette Library to host Drag Queen Storytime. Lafayette Public Library Systems offers multiple free events throughout the year, but one coming in October has people talking. Drag Queen Storyline is something that has been done in cities across the country, but this would be the first ever in this area. This is what was posted. August 1st, 2008. Join us for an afternoon of book, songs, and activities led by a drag queen from UL Lafayette's Delta Lambda Phi chapter, recommended for ages 3 to 6 and their families. Saturday is October 6th, 2 to 3:30 at the main library. So that's... You got any more details on this story, Brandon?
Other than what's on the website, no.
I just was curious. I have no comment. I mean, gee whiz, I just don't have a comment. I'm moving on to the next caller. Let's go to Gary in Monroe. Gary, how you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Doing fine, sir.
I wanted to tell you, the tax structure in the state of Louisiana is so deep-seated in negatively towards business and the people. One tax is the inventory tax.
Yep.
So businesses come to Louisiana and export our resources. Also, with those resources that are exported are the jobs associated with the refinement of those resources, which are higher-paying, educated jobs.
Yep.
And it goes from there.
But you know what's sad, Gary? You've been watching this as long as me, and maybe not. We don't try to change that. There's no goals of changing what's going on in our state. All we ever talk about is how much money we need for higher ed, how much money we need for K-12, how much money we need for roads, how much money we need for Medicaid. That's it. So they come back and they take it from the citizens. They never talk about changing nothing. It's no change coming to Louisiana. Why in the heck do we expect different results? We've lost two congressmen, Gary. We lost 2 congressmen over 20 years for out-migration. We're going to be very lucky we don't lose a third one in this next census.
The problem is with the voters. The voters of Louisiana are the ones that are responsible. And until we send people to Baton Rouge that will make these changes, it's not going to happen.
Well, when you put Republicans in like Julie Stokes, it's not going to change. She's a hard blue, not even a blue dog. She's a liberal. When you put these Republicans in and they do what they do with the Democrats, I'm just telling you, it's not going to change anything. We don't want to change anything. Because if we did, the people would vote these people out. People that voted with John Bel Edwards, these lawmakers ought to be all voted out, every single one of them. Okay, I think we lost it.
We did.
844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. And they got the worst 25 cities in the U.S. to live in. I don't even want to read it. It gets me frustrated. James in New Iberia. How you doing, James?
Hey, Moon, I just wanted to get your opinion on all of these social media outlets and other media platforms banning Alex Jones. They all, decry how Trump is against freedom of speech and their First Amendment rights. And yet here they are promoting the banning of Alex Jones's First Amendment rights.
Yeah, I'm not for banning anybody's. It's what happens is they all trying to change and blame Trump for everything. Trump has nothing to do with this. Let me tell you what I figured out, and I got to give my pastor credit. sitting in church yesterday. He didn't mention any names, any politics, any party, but he mentioned something that stuck with me, and I put it together. Our side disagrees, like we disagree with Obama. If you disagree with Obama, that side, the other left side, they call us haters. They call us bigots and racists and homophobes and all. And that's not what we are. We just disagree with what they're saying. They hate, we don't. They really hate us. And we don't hate them. We just disagree with them. But yet they put the hate on us, and it's not us that are doing the hating.
Well, I agree with you, and I just want to tell Brandon that he and Shannon they ought to run with that on their show about that whole drag queen thing at the library.
I
didn't realize Lafayette was gonna.
That's a Brandon and Shannon show.
Don't be surprised, James, if and when the topic comes up at some point in the near future. Just saying.
Yes, that's not as much as the Moonwood. That's a Brandon and Shannon deal. But going back to what I said, and the pastor did a great job, but he wasn't talking politics as much as he was talking what's going on. The side that hate always claims the other side hates. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing. You're gonna disagree in your family, and you're gonna disagree with your wife and your husband and all that stuff. You're gonna disagree with them. They hate. You like Trump, they'll punch you in the mouth. They'll beat the hell out of you. You like Trump, they will hurt you. You don't like Obama, they call you racist. You don't like the policies of changing the definition of marriage, then you're a homophobe. And no, I believe in what God intention for marriage is one man and one woman. They're going to say I'm hating. I'm not hating at all. Mine's built in truth. What's yours built in? Yours is built in hate because you hate me for saying that. You hate me for believing that. Well, you can hate me. But the left is so engaged in pure, unadulterated hate for people. And they don't understand. Well, I have a right to have an opinion and a belief system. And it's not going to be what the world gives you because that's a failure anywhere it's been tried. All right, we got to go. God bless. Have a great day. See you tomorrow, folks. It's Terrific Tuesday right around the corner.